Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers Kristy.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to one focused on solutions.
Couldn't be more important than now. 7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, and home office-worthy podcast, even if your home office happens to be an RV in the middle of nowhere. Today is Monday, the 11th of January, 2021. Good morning, Kristy. How are you?
I'm well, Summers. I was complaining about how cold it is for me here in sunny California. It's under 65 degrees. But where are you at right now, and how cold is it for you?
Yeah, so we are in an area of Texas called Lakeway, Texas. It is a suburb of Austin, near communities like Spicewood and Dripping Springs and all of these charming names. And yesterday it snowed. We had 4 inches of snow. It was crazy, and it was not super handy to have it snowing while we were out surveying properties for business and home relocation, but it was nonetheless incredibly charming. It reminded me of my childhood in Colorado and, of course, the leaping deer in the fields. And it was quite picturesque. And then today, I think it's back up. I think it's about 45 outside right now. So the snow is all gone and everything is green and fresh.
So it's balmy then, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's a balmy 45. So not that everyone tunes in to hear like my RV tales, but inevitably there are challenges with the RV. We did put the kids in a cabin next to the RV because 5 people in this was far too small. And so the big kids are in a cabin next door. My husband, the baby, and I are sleeping in the RV, and the heater broke.
Oh, no.
Which was rad and very cold and lots of blankets. And we had the dog in with us one night, and with our broken heater, she was like crawling into the covers with us. So there's just too many of us in bed. And then, as everyone can imagine, happens in an RV, this morning, the toilet broke.
Oh, maybe you need another cabin.
Exactly. But, fortunately, we do have the cabin next door, so we were not too much in a pickle, but I have had a long day already, but it's lovely, and it's nice to be with my family. It's nice to be doing something new. The process that we are going through as far as considering relocation and considering buying a home is incredibly intense and very emotional. We have found some properties we like, but as anyone who has bought a home knows, it's a roller coaster. So I am missing the comforts of my home. I'm missing my cats. But I am very grateful that we are on this journey, and the heater is back on and the toilet is solved. So that's my update from the road, in case you cared.
Okay, well, good. I'm happy to know that you are in a safe space and that you're mostly warm, even if it is sometimes cold.
Well, mostly warm, but what I do, and I know we're going to talk about some solutions today, but what I wanted to start our conversation with is to thank you, Kristy, for the beautiful Optimist view you put together yesterday. It touched me. It brought me to tears, as the case may be, because it was a reminder of returning to kindness, a focus on the good that is in this world, even though the extraordinary acts of sedition and violence that are happening are really, really terrifying. And you and I talked this morning in our pre-meeting about the struggle we have at the Optimist Daily to continue to provide solutions, but also not normalize what's happening.
Yeah, and I think that was my concern. And I mean, I think we agreed in our editorial meetings that because of what our mission is, it's hard to, I'm outraged at what has gone on. And honestly, it's not a surprise. It was shocking, but it's also something that has been normalized, and the sort of the othering that's going on by the political rhetoric that is just, I've been trying to do what I can to quell those feelings and be inclusive in how we talk about people, because we are all human beings, right? And I feel like it's very dangerous to foment this kind of negative othering that has been going on, I mean, for the last few years especially, but even longer than that. This current rupture is not a surprise, and it has to be addressed fully to the full extent of the law.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put what I said out there and focus on kindness and compassion and healing on an individual level. But as a nation, we also have to think about how are we going to heal. But part of how we do that, I think, is we have to really look hard at some of the way that we've gotten to this point. We have to take it seriously. We can't normalize it. And we really have to change how we address this kind of rhetoric in our public sphere.
One of the comments that you had in the conversation we continue is about the othering and about the idea that we are a polarized community, that it's us versus them. And something at the Optimist Daily we really anchor to is every solution that we share has a social, economic, and environmental impact, right? There is benefits to the things we share. So when you hear about things like no cash bail, well, it's very easy in the othering to say, criminals are getting away for free, when in fact, that's not actually the solution. That's not actually what no cash bail means. We have an article today, which we'll dive into, about making education grants available to incarcerated individuals. That is about understanding recidivism, understanding the benefits of making a strategic investment. So whether it is about going solar or using an environmentally and locally viable power source, whether it's solar or wind or whatever the power source is most ubiquitous in your area, all of these solutions, we want everyone who's listening to the Optimist Daily update and everybody who's reading the Optimist Daily to remember that these solutions are not us versus them. They are instead an actual economic solution to improve and change our world for good. This is not about who is doing bad. This is about what we can do to do good.
Well, also it's sort of shifting how we think about good and bad, right? And thinking about the greater good. Right. And it's not about retribution. It's not about revenge, which I feel like we get so caught up in the right and wrong of things and the individual responsibility that we lose sight of the collective responsibility. So that's where I like to shift our attention. And that's why a solution like the one we did feature today on the Optimist Daily, which is talking about the government lifting a ban on federal student aid for incarcerated individuals. Those individuals are incarcerated, and many of them have done things which are socially unacceptable, and they deserve to be in prison, but that doesn't mean they're not human beings. And that does not mean that for the wider society, it doesn't make sense for them to actually be able to lift themselves out of their past and have a positive future where they actually can contribute to society in a productive way. And getting them education is one of those ways that is very useful. Or you can make an economic argument that investing in the people who have ended up behind bars, and a lot of times it's because they're in really bad situations to begin with. And, they've made some bad choices, but it's also because they were very under-resourced to start off with, right? I think this is a great solution. And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about the details in it.
Yes, some of the details. Basically, in federal student aid previously, including Pell Grants, have been withheld from incarcerated individuals since 1994. The lifted ban is part of a $1.4 trillion government pandemic stimulus package, and it aligns with the long push for prison reform that we know is an advantageous strategy. Benefits basically like Pell Grants, opening them up. The program itself is called a Second Chance Pell, and over 17,000 students have participated in getting those credentials. And in 2020, the program is expanded to help influence the lifted ban on aid for all incarcerated individuals. We talked about a story back in December about Pitzer's new bachelor program for incarcerated students. And these kinds of opportunities to reduce the likelihood, and this is 100% about reducing the likelihood of recidivism for incarcerated individuals, has a positive benefit on our society. So I just think it's really fascinating. Kristy, you illuminated to me some of the benefits of another investment in individuals, which is no cash bail, and
Mm-hmm.
how no cash bail is an effective economic solution. So can you, even though that's not one of our solutions today, would you
Well,
share with us for just a minute what
yeah,
that means and what the benefit is?
right now, well, this came out of I think there was a push in California. I don't know actually off the top of my head if it passed or not, but to eliminate cash bail in the state of California. And what cash bail is it's when somebody gets arrested and before they go to trial, they can get out of prison by paying something. And there's a huge industry, the bail industry, that was very against getting rid of cash bail. But the problem is that it very negatively impacts those at the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, who are often, the ones who get brought up on different charges. But if you're wealthy, it's easy to get out of jail. You've got a house you can put up and you've got other resources. For the people who are at the lower end of that, even having to come up with $5,000, $10,000, which is 10% of whatever the bail amount would be, is tremendously challenging. So either they have to stay in jail awaiting trial, which means that they will maybe lose their job because they have an hourly job. It's
Well,
very onerous on those people. And
right.
in fact, there's areas, there's cities, there's places that don't require cash bail. They are released on their own recognizance, and more than 80% of those people always come back anyway. So it's not a huge incentive. Those people are going to want to come back and have their trial and deal with the charges.
Let me add to that if we look at from a constitutional law standpoint, innocent until proven guilty, the idea of cash bail actually can prevent that from being deployed, right?
And
while
these people haven't even been tried, they're considered guilty until proven innocent, basically.
Yeah.
It's very onerous.
Parameters. So in California, it did not pass, but there are some parameters that I think that can greatly improve this, in that repeat offenders perhaps do not receive the no cash bail option out there. Parameters to measure against it. But I think that, as we know,
and it's not for people who have created violent offenses like rape or murder. Those people still have to
serve
come
time.
up with. But for like the jaywalker or the guy who did something pretty innocuous, I don't know. It's ridiculous for them to have to come up with $50,000 to get out.
Exactly. And the repercussions for the jaywalker or somebody who has committed a petty crime, the repercussions for that person, whether they committed the crime or were accused of the crime, for them to remain in jail may mean a loss of a home, a loss of a job, and that creates an ongoing cycle of crime. This is just one of the many things. And Kristy and I are sort of combining all of the economic solutions. We really, really want to lift the curtain on why these economic solutions make the world a better place and what we can do. Because right now, we've just got to get information out to the world so that we can get through what is a really, really, really tough time. We've got some other amazing stories on the Optimist Daily today, which have nothing to do with these topics, if you need a little bit of a lighter note.
Well, there's an Indian startup that's turning black carbon into eco-friendly tiles. That's a way of sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere and turning them into something that's useful. That's a cool story there. There's a list of 17 foods that will help protect you from stress. So, using your gut to help lower your overall stress by investing in healthy food like sweet potatoes, artichokes, and eggs, along with many others.
Matcha, right?
Yeah. There's a self-navigating aquatic robot that's working to remove garbage from local waterways. And that was from a Hong Kong-based startup. And that is kind of reminds me of our ocean cleanup. It's kind of another water-based, getting trash out of the rivers, out of the streams, out of the canals, because those all end up in the ocean. So this is a great solution.
We've got big and small changes to reduce your home energy consumption. We have Chinese fast food chain swaps all chicken eggs with a plant-based version. And it looks like 8 financial planning tips for the new year,
And also, over 500,000 people have pledged on this one site to go vegan in the month of January, the Veganary Challenge.
I like that, because usually it's dry January, but I think the world right now, nobody's giving up booze, but we can give up.
Really?
The pandemic shutdowns have given researchers vital insights on air pollution. And last but not least, scientists discover a new species of blue whale in the West Indian Ocean.
And that is it for today's Optimist Daily Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And we will be back tomorrow with more positive, solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world to ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to keep covering these current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offering you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
Please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com, and for just $5 a month, support reader-funded independent journalism. Be part of the solution, changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Help us keep the Optimist Daily free for all who need it, supported by those who can.